Hi, this video is to help you turn all the notes that you've got in your outline for your ethnobotany research paper into an effective paper that has some sort of a hook in it and that conveys your interest and your enthusiasm in the plant throughout. While you're watching this video, I want you to take Cornell notes. Remember, you can pause and rewind to review any topics at any time to make sure you get all the details. But secondly, then, I want you to use this just as a guide for how you can write your own research paper to make it as good as it can be. So let's see what we have here. First, as you already know, you've got your information organized using outline format in a Google Doc. As we practiced in class on Friday, take your information and make sure it's sorted out under the main topics and categories. And then in each category, make sure the details are organized logically. Now, this could be one of a few things. You have related ideas all together, so you can turn those into an effective paragraph. Or maybe there's a cause and effect relationship among different details that you'd want to put in logical order. Or maybe there are main points that you have supporting details for that you could then use to help build upon the main point and make it really powerful. Always have a central question in mind. And the central question for me, and it should be for you, is what makes your plant worth knowing about? Why is it interesting? Then you're going to write the outline into an essay, and that's what we'll work on here. We start off with a starting device. We always want to make sure that we introduce the topic after we've hooked the reader. When we're writing expository essays, I call this setting the context. And then you're going to have your thesis statement about the plant. And then for each paragraph, and these are the body paragraphs in your essay, make sure you include a topic sentence, that you have details or data or evidence to support that topic sentence. And you also explain what those details or data or evidence show using commentary of your own. Now, I want to pause and just remind you to keep this idea in mind. What makes this plant interesting? If you can't even pretend that you're interested in it, then you're going to write a paper that's going to be a drag to read and will get a poor grade. At the very least, you should be somewhat interested in it. And as I mentioned here, as I was thinking about this from reading one of Bill Bryson's books called A Short History of Nearly Everything, part of what makes Bill Bryson such a great writer is that he's just naturally interested in almost anything he sets his mind to. And the truth is, we can all be like that. Maybe it doesn't happen so easily or naturally for us, but if we put ourselves to it, we can do it. Have a curious mind at all times. Remember, there's only a handful of species on Earth that can think about things in terms of why they exist or why they do what they do. And even the species that can't, like my two cats, they still find simple things like bugs in the garden fascinating, and they're endlessly curious. You should capture a bit of your natural curiosity when you're thinking about the plant, and then convey that when you're writing the paper. So I've included just this first bit of the outline for my paper on the neem tree, and these were the details that I had that I thought would go in the background section. That's why it's got the numeral 1 at the top. Well, what I have to do is, since I've already written out my first sentence, it's a great opening line as it says here, but now I need to turn this into an opening paragraph instead of just an opening line. So here's what I did. I took the opening line and I turned it into a paragraph using some more commentary, like this. Little known in the US, the neem tree is an amazing plant which humans have relied upon for ages. It has a multitude of health benefits, relatively non-toxic, and has the potential to reduce our dependence on environmentally damaging chemicals. All this from a plant which seems to love warm, dry environments, exactly the sort of place that California is becoming as we continue into more years of drought and increased temperatures. Neem can fit perfectly into our future. And you may see some of these details in here. This is really my commentary. It's all in my own words, but it's capturing some ideas that I'm going to come to later on when I write about them in some more detail. And indeed, I'll write about them in even greater detail later on when I talk about environmental effects, okay? But the first thing I notice next is, okay, first paragraph's done, now I need a topic sentence. Here it is. Yet there are many more reasons to care about this plant than simply its drought resistance. Very good. Now I want to transition into this small letter I that starts with associated. And here it is. I got to make this first detail fit in smoothly. And it goes like this. Neem is associated with one of the oldest cultures on Earth, the Indus Valley Civilization, dating back to 2600 BCE. Great. Now if I can just make these next details flow that smoothly, I'll be in good shape. Here we go. There's evidence that neem has been used throughout northern and eastern India for millennia, where generations of people grew up with this plant playing a central role in their lives. Used in moderation, it has numerous health benefits and is non-toxic. Since it's a natural insect repellent, it can also help reduce our use of harsh synthetic pesticides. Awesome. Now, I just need a concluding sentence or two. Most Americans aren't even aware that neem exists. Clearly, we should be. And that's excellent. Now I've got my two opening paragraphs. They've introduced some of the ideas here. They've captured some of the cultural background. And it all started from just this much of the outline. I've got much more parts of the outline to turn into an essay, but I've really got a good start now. And it's becoming sort of a flowing narrative rather than just a jumbled suitcase of details. Make sure you organize your information well, you transition between ideas, and throughout the whole thing, you're trying to convey your interest and enthusiasm for whatever the plant is you have.